The episode begins on a bright sunny morning with a lady trudging through deep snow, visibly out of breath, yet determined to continue her journey. Concurrently, there's a flashback to an earlier event where an airplane is preparing for takeoff. In another scene, a young girl watches her parents depart, snowflakes gently falling from the sky. The scene then shifts to a man lying unconscious on the ground. As the lady making her way through the snow passes by, the man reaches out, gently grabbing her hand, and pleads with her not to leave. Their encounter leads to an intimate moment between them. Meanwhile, on the other side, as the plane begins its takeoff, a sudden and powerful trembling shakes the surroundings. A bolt of lightning strikes one of the airplane's engines, triggering a catastrophic event. In the blink of an eye, the plane disintegrates into pieces, setting the stage for a dramatic turn of events. During the tragic plane crash witnessed by the girl saying goodbye to her parents, she can only watch helplessly, tears streaming down her face, as the horrifying event unfolds before her. However, the story takes a sudden turn as Fuuko Izimo closes the book she's been reading, expressing regret about how her childhood should have been like the romantic manga she enjoys. It becomes clear that the earlier events were from the pages of her beloved manga. But the narrative doesn't stop there. After finishing her favorite manga, Fuuko stands at the edge of a bridge, contemplating taking her own life. Suddenly, a man captures her attention to whom Fuuko explains that all she ever wanted was a passionate romance like the ones in her manga. But due to her current circumstances, she feels unable to experience such love. Fuuko points a dagger at the man, warning him not to touch her. She goes on to threaten that if he does, he'll contract an incurable disease that could end his life. To Fuuko's astonishment, while her attention momentarily wavers, the man rushes toward the dagger, which pierces his heart. Unexpectedly, the man miraculously heals himself as if his earlier injury never happened. He proceeds to ensure Fuuko's safety, but now that the man has touched Fuuko, he waits for the promised misfortune to befall him. When the moment arrives, Fuuko warns the man that his bad luck is imminent. Suddenly, the rocky surface beneath the man collapses, and the oncoming train crushes him into pieces. Fuuko, seated on the ground, curses her own luck and feels disheartened for having cost another man his life. However, to Fuuko's astonishment, the man's head comes flying toward her out of nowhere, still alive. This sight leaves her utterly surprised. But what happens next is even more shocking. The man's head rapidly regenerates into his former body with remarkable ease. After regaining his body, the man remarks that this might be his lucky day, as he appears to have gained some insight into Fuuko's abilities. In a state of panic, Fuuko immediately flees the scene while screaming that she has encountered a zombie. The man, who identifies himself as an undead, effortlessly catches up with her. He calmly explains his condition to her, and soon as he notices two police officers approaching, the undead decides to avoid any trouble and quickly flees the area, taking Fuuko with him as he soars to another building. After landing, Fuuko attempts once more to evade the undead's presence, but he grabs her legs, preventing her escape. Fuuko, now desperate, warns the undead that if he doesn't release her, she will trigger another unlucky event. However, the undead remains resolute and insists on learning more about Fuuko's abilities. When Fuuko refuses to divulge this information, the undead begins swinging her toward the edge of the building, not relenting until Fuuko agrees to answer whatever questions he has in mind. After a few moments of hesitation, Fuuko begins to share her story. She recounts an incident that took place 10 years ago when her parents were departing on a business trip overseas. Fuuko was there to bid them farewell, and her parents showered her with hugs and affection. Tragically, a catastrophic event occurred as lightning struck the airplane's engine, leading to the deaths of all 270 passengers on board, including Fuuko's parents. This was the moment when Fuuko discovered her newfound ability, and she concluded that she was somehow responsible for the tragedy that befell her parents. Upon hearing this account, the undead decides to put it to the test and holds Fuuko for a brief moment. Suddenly, a crate full of bananas from a cargo plane above accidentally lands on top of the undead, crushing him. Seizing the opportunity, Fuuko attempts to flee, but an unfortunate event unfolds as she steps on a banana peel, causing her to trip and tumble from the edge of the building. As Fuuko plummets from the building, a profound realization washes over her. She acknowledges that she hasn't fully lived her life yet and isn't ready to die. Despite her desperate desire to change her fate, it seems too late. However, just as she's about to meet her fate, the undead swoops in, leaping from the building and catching her in midair, preventing her from a fatal impact. With Fuuko safely in his arms, the undead takes her to a hiding spot. Meanwhile, another man who happens to witness all of this is on a phone call with someone where he reveals his intention to apprehend Fuuko once her ability is confirmed. In another scene, the undead makes an unusual request, asking Fuuko to remove her clothes so that he can analyze and understand how her ability works. Fuuko, understandably reluctant, decides to flee instead. However, her jacket gets stuck, revealing her long hair. Fuuko then takes this moment to explain to the undead that she hasn't been able to cut her hair because her bad luck would transfer to any barber who tries. Unexpectedly, the undead takes out a pair of scissors and proceeds to cut Fuuko's hair. After he finishes, he encourages Fuuko to embrace her new look and not be embarrassed by it. Fuuko hesitates at first, but with the undead's encouraging words, she cautiously opens her eyes and looks at herself in the mirror. To her surprise, she feels a newfound sense of self-assurance and adoration for her transformed appearance. As the undead continues to hold Fuuko, approximately 15 minutes pass without any disastrous events occurring. However, their respite is short-lived. Suddenly, the man in the black suit from earlier reappears, wielding a sword. In a single swift motion, he decapitates the undead with a single blow and seals the undead's head in a capsule to prevent his regeneration. Fuuko is handcuffed by one of the man's companions, and the man in the black suit proceeds to explain their purpose. They are tasked with monitoring and controlling individuals like Fuuko and the undead who possess unique, uncontrolled abilities. Fuuko seeks clarification about what they intend to do with her powers, to which the man responds that they plan to utilize her abilities to end lives, expressing confidence that the undead had similar intentions all along. Fuuko vehemently denies the man's accusation, clarifying that the undead had only sought to use her power to end his own life, not harm others. However, their conversation is abruptly interrupted by an unfortunate event. Lightning strikes the man who was holding the capsule containing the undead's head, reducing him to ashes. The undead seizes this opportunity to regenerate, restoring himself to his full form. With remarkable speed and precision, he decapitates the heads of the last 4 companions of the man in the black suit in a single slash of his sword. Desperate, the man in the black suit resorts to holding Fuuko hostage. But in a surprising turn of events, the undead swiftly decapitates his own head and hurls it toward the man in black suit. As the head floats through the air, Fuuko conceives an idea. She frees herself from the man's grasp and, in a daring move, kisses the undead's severed head while it's in midair. Moments later, the man in the black suit catches the head, unsure of what just occurred. The plan unfolds flawlessly, and the undead quickly regenerates himself. Urging Fuuko to save herself, he knows what's coming next, an unfortunate event. Without delay, an unlucky event unfolds. A meteorite from the sky strikes the undead, causing a powerful explosion. After the dust and debris settle, the undead emerges from the rubble, remarkably unharmed. Fuuko, relieved and delighted to see him in good health, can hardly contain her emotions. In a subsequent scene, Fuuko decides to introduce herself to the undead and moreover proceeds to give him a name. She chooses the name Andy because it rhymes with undead, upon which the undead simply agrees with no objections. This simple act humanizes the once undead creature, forging a connection between him and Fuuko. Episode 2. Fuuko says that because of her unluck, many people died. She tries to kill herself, but Andy gives her hope to live a little more. Andy gives Fuuko a tour of his lab. The lab has many powerful guns and war materials. Then Andy prepares heavy armor for Fuuko, which is bullet and stab-proof. Fuuko and Andy hop on a bike. While traveling on a bridge, the sky suddenly shatters and a big robot attacks on their bike from behind. Another man having magnetic powers appears there. This man is one of the members of the Union. He attached Fuuko to him, making her unable to move her legs. Robot, having an ability called Unavoidable, punches Andy hard and slams him in the bridge. Suddenly Andy jumps and attacks the robot with his sword, but the robot defends himself. An intense fight begins between Andy and Robot, but no one is ready to accept defeat. But Unavoidable Robot blows a powerful hit on Andy, separates his head, and throws it away. The robot told Magnetic Man to kill Fuuko. The head of Andy gets up and flies towards Fuuko. In the meantime, Andy rebuilds his body and saves Fuuko from the Unavoidable Robot. Andy said that until he is here, he won't let anyone hurt Fuuko. On hearing this, Fuuko gets emotional. Fuuko touches Andy with her hand. In this way, she gives some unluck to Andy and a giant oil truck falls on the Unavoidable Robot and Magnetic Man. But still, after this massive explosion, Unavoidable Robot and Magnetic Man remains unharmed. Then Andy starts flying in the air and comes into a building and hides behind the pillar. Robot and his companions start searching for Andy. But that building was about to explode as the workers had already placed dynamites in it. The dynamites blow up and the building collapses. The robot scans the area and finds a broken arm of Andy. But suddenly Andy appears from behind. Andy said that he could use his broken body parts as a projectile. Andy cuts his finger and shoots it like a bullet. The bullet hits the robot's eye and kills him. Then Andy starts fighting with the magnetic man, but it seems impossible for him to defeat his opponent. Fuuko brings a katana and tosses it towards Andy, but then they suddenly stop fighting. The man with magnetic ability asked them to join the team called Union. Fuuko thought that they would kill Andy. Andy said that he wants 2 seats in the Union members' team, as he wants Fuuko to join the Union. But the Union member gave them a task to kill another Union member on August 5th in Russia. If they do that, he will put in a good word for both of them. The magnetic man said that he would give both of them positions as Union members. So Andy accepts the offer and starts heading towards the destination to kill the member. Fuuko said that she didn't have a passport or anything, but Andy said that there is no need for a passport to travel to Russia. Andy tells Fuuko his sea route. Episode 3 seconds. On August 4th, we saw a girl watching the boat of Fuuko and Andy through a satellite. While sailing, some fighter jets appear behind them, but Andy handles the boat and keeps dodging their attacks. Then Andy gets out and cuts his hand and uses it as a missile. It destroys the fighter jet. Andy tells Fuuko that the person who captured him 50 years ago has the ability to make invisible barriers. The girl on the satellite throws an invisible ball on the boat of Andy. The half part of the boat sinks in the ocean. Fuuko got trapped under the boat, but Fuuko saved her life. While sitting on the other half part of the boat, a fighter jet appears and tells them to surrender. But suddenly an explosion occurs in the sea. Andy grabs Fuuko and gets on the flying jet. The pilot evacuates the cockpit and Andy takes control of the fighter jet. With the help of a jet, they finally reach the lakeside in Russia. The security system in the jet turned on, and in the next 10 seconds, the fighter jet was about to explode. Andy and Fuuko get out of the jet and land using the 5-step landing technique. In this process, he breaks his legs, arms, and backbone. But Andy quickly repairs his body and they both reach the lakeside. Andy tells Fuuko that he has to look for his old war buddies. Andy told her to enjoy some time on the lakeside. Fuuko finds a girl named Gina who is painting the lake scenery. Gina becomes so happy when she meets a girl from Japan. Gina said that she likes the school uniform of Japan, but Fuuko tells her that she never goes to school in her life. Gina asked Fuuko to paint something, but Fuuko said that she was not good at it. Gina gave Fuuko a painting board and told her to draw something. Fuuko gives her best and makes a painting of a lake, a bright moon, and stars around it. Gina asked Fuuko the reason behind making stars around the bright moon in the painting. Fuuko said that she felt that the moon looked lonely, and that's why she gave the moon some stars as friends. Gina then goes into the lake and she suddenly starts flying in the sky. Fuuko was shocked when she saw Gina flying in the air. But Andy comes there and tries to attack Gina, as she was the person who captured Andy 50 years ago. Gina uses her invisible barrier ability and defends herself from Katana's attack. Gina tells them that she already knew that Andy and Fuuko came here to kill her so they could get a position within 10 Union members. The scene ends as Gina comes down using water stairs.